Hey everybody, Dr. Nilsson here, founder of GetHealthyAnswers.com. Excited to be here with you today. We're going to be talking about today's life tip. At our class last week, it was a gluten, dairy-free class for all those who weren't able to attend. We had a phenomenal time. My dear sweetheart Jolene was able to share with us about 7 different recipes from breads. I mean, amazing bread to desserts and salads and main dishes. It was so much fun. We had great reviews, and we look forward to doing that again. Anyway, I talked about some of the brand new, the latest and greatest research on gluten sensitivity. Now, what is gluten sensitivity? Gluten sensitivity is gluten intolerance. Now, it's completely different from celiac disease. Let me explain a little bit. I'm going to hit some of the highlights, and right below, you can see right below, I've listed out all the studies, and I've talked about what celiac disease and gluten intolerance and gluten sensitivity. You can go ahead and read through it. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights and the tips today. For the first time, I mean, we've known about this for years, and I've been diagnosing this for years to patients, gluten sensitivity. Now, for the first time, though, science has come out, the University of Maryland, in the journal BMC Medicine, you can look it up, the brand new study in March this year, we're talking about gluten sensitivity. It's different than celiac disease. It's not celiac disease. In celiac disease, we know that the villi, or like the shag carpet, gets rubbed down, and consequently you get leaky gut syndrome. Go ahead and read about it down here. I'm not going to explain that right now. Consequently, though, gluten sensitivity is different. What they found is that the symptoms are very much the same, and for years we've known about this. So, a patient, they'll start feeling these symptoms like the nausea, the vomiting, or the abdominal discomfort, the bloating, the constipation, the diarrhea, the hives. They will go to their doctor and they'll say, "Hey doc, I feel like I have the symptoms of celiac disease. Can you test me for that?" So they'll run a blood lab. "Oh, nope, you don't have it." They'll do a biopsy. "You must not have it." Or else they'll run a blood lab and say, "Oh, you might have it. We got to confirm that by a biopsy of the small in the intestine." Consequently, they'll say, "Oh, I guess you don't have celiac disease." So then the patient was left hanging. So doctor says, "Well, you don't have celiac disease, so go ahead and go on gluten. It's fine." No, don't go on the gluten. That's exactly what's causing the problem. And this is what we found. Now, the University of Maryland did a study. Go ahead and read about it. They took a bunch of individuals who had celiac disease, individuals who suspected they were gluten sensitive or had gluten sensitivity or intolerance, and then patients just a normal control. And what they found is that truly gluten sensitivity is a true diagnosis. It's different. It's different in that it differs because the immune system, the way the immune system attacks is different in celiac disease, which is an adaptive form of immune complex, whereas the gluten sensitivity is more like a primitive type reflex of attacking the gluten. Now, what's very interesting is when the body attacks itself, this is called autoimmune disease. Celiac, a celiac sprue, is like this, the autoimmune disease. What we're finding though is gluten sensitivity also acts like this, that the body starts attacking itself. And what happens in this, what I would call bio or body warfare, when your body starts attacking itself, see, it gets tricked into thinking this gluten is bad. It is bad, and then it gets confused as to what is bad, and it starts attacking itself, like the thyroid. The brain, it starts attacking the brain. Well, what they've also found is that when it attacks the brain, it's also misdiagnosed oftentimes for people saying they have MS, but really they have a gluten intolerance or celiac disease. Because what happens in warfare, think about regular warfare out there. In warfare, after the war goes through, there's all this aftermath of war. There's burnt buildings, there's destroyed houses, there's cars, and there's debris and rubbish and inflammation in the city. This inflammation, or not inflammation, aftermath of warfare, is what I call inflammation. So it's like inflammation in the city, but in our body it's inflammation. In war, it's aftermath. War aftermath in our body is the aftermath of war is inflammation. And this inflammation can be in the gut, can be in the brain, can be in the thyroid, can be in all sorts of soft tissues in the body. Consequently, this is what's happening in celiac disease, but even more importantly, we recognize and notice this gluten sensitivity. I just wanted to share this live tip with you today Many people will ask me, well, what should I do? How do I get tested? You can get a blood lab. You can run a blood lab to see if you're celiac disease positive. If you're not, you can also get a biopsy, okay? That's to rule out celiac disease. If you want to know if you're gluten intolerant, if you have the signs, symptoms, what you can do is go off gluten for 3 to 6 months. I used to say a little bit less time. Now I see 3 to 6 months because the research is showing that after 3 to 6 months, the longer the better, that those antibodies, those actual soldiers attacking your body or like attacking the thyroid, they'll actually start to go away. And generally you'll feel better. If you start feeling better and saying, wow, I don't have such and such a symptom. I don't have the abdominal bloating. I don't have the runny nose anymore because I've gone off gluten. Gluten like wheat, rye, barley, spelt, kamut, those type of things. I don't have those symptoms anymore. Well, obviously, if you're feeling better, stay off of it. This is our tip for today. I'm Dr. Nilsson. Remember, live in fullness every day. And if you're gluten intolerant, live in fullness every day by going off of it. I look forward to you on the next Life Tip.